A man accused of stalking a Suffolk County nurse has been brought to Long Island to face charges. You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Buffa. We'll have more on that story in a moment, but first, a Newsday exclusive. Bruce Blakeman is trying to become New York's first Republican governor in 20 years. Doug Gee sat down with the Nassau County executive as he lays out his agenda for what he calls a new New York.
We are the most overtaxed, overregulated state in the United States. We're at the bottom of economic development.
Boosting businesses and lowering the cost of living. That's at the heart of Bruce Blakeman's campaign for governor. He says he'd focus on attracting new businesses to New York and on making it less costly for existing businesses by streamlining regulations and cutting red tape.
I want to create a state that's vibrant, where there's a lot of economic opportunity, where there are a lot of jobs, high-paying jobs, good benefits. When people talk about affordability, Kathy Hochul doesn't understand it because she created this unaffordable environment. Now she says she wants to fix it. Why should people give her another 4 years when she created the unaffordability in this state?
You talked about, why should New Yorkers give Hochul another 4 years? If you get elected, chances are you're going to be facing a Democratic Assembly and Senate. How are you going to accomplish the things that you want to with that?
Well, I understand that it's a negotiation process, and if Carl Hastie is still the speaker and Andrea Stewart-Cousins is still the majority leader, then I know we got to sit down and do some horse trading. There are things that are important to them, and there'll be things that are important to me.
Blakeman also says he'd cut utility bills in half by eliminating what he calls hidden fees and taxes in those bills.
There's no reason why New Yorkers should be paying 50% more in energy costs than an adjacent state like the state of Pennsylvania.
He also wants to lift the state's ban on fracking for natural gas upstate.
Sure, there can be alternative energy sources, but you also have to have natural gas. We're sitting on one of the largest natural gas reserves in the world here in New York State, and we're not drilling. We're not using that.
Blakeman is a strong supporter of President Trump, something that could hurt his chances of winning in this heavily Democratic state. But he remains confident, saying New Yorkers are tired of the daily struggle of making ends meet.
We are failing miserably in this state in creating an environment that people will want to do business here, they'll want to stay here, they want to raise their families here. I want to change all that.
For Newsday TV, I'm Doug Gee.
The trial of the deadly Deer Park nail salon crash is underway. You're watching a video of the crash from 2024. Now, a witness spoke in court today saying the driver, Stephen Schwally, told them he was hurt in a fall about 2 hours before it happened. The 66-year-old is facing murder charges. Prosecutors say his blood alcohol content was more than twice the legal limit. 4 people were killed in this crash. And a section of Pulaski Road was closed in Greenlawn after a crash this afternoon. Police say it happened near Cuba Hill Road. No word on any injuries. And a 29-year-old driver was killed in a car crash on the Northern State Parkway. Officials say Salvatore Sparacino was speeding and driving erratically. The Sunday night crash happened near the new highway overpass at exit 46. And a shelter-in-place order has been lifted in Belmore after a propane leak. Now, it happened Monday night at Island Greenery Nursery. The Belmore Fire Department says the leak came from a 1,000-gallon cylinder used to fill barbecue tanks. And first in Newsday, Long Island oyster farmers will be getting some relief from the feds. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has named Suffolk County a disaster area after the harsh winter weather. Local oyster farmers lost millions of dollars worth of equipment and suffered from a loss in crops as a result. And looking to go to a Knicks finals game? Well, you might want to start saving because tickets for the first home game at the Garden cost more than $3,500. And that's for the nosebleeds. Now, if you want to spend more, second row at center court is going for more than $98,000. Game 3 will be on June 8th. Go Knicks. All right, here's a quick look at tomorrow's weather. What a gorgeous day we had today. In tomorrow's planner, we will see what kind of day we have shaping up. And look, mostly clouds, but temps will be elevated in the mid-70s. Of course, we'll have that 7-day forecast for you later in the broadcast.
We have an update on a story you saw first in Newsday about a New Jersey man accused of stalking and harassing a Long Island nurse for 3 years with vile and violent messages and gifts. Michael Pasek has now been arrested and will face a judge here on Long Island. Newsday reporter Robert Brodsky broke the story, and he joins us now with the latest. Robert.
So as we've seen, Michael Pasek was arrested by New Jersey's Fugitive Task Force on Thursday. On Friday, he appeared before a judge and he waived extradition, meaning he is not fighting his extradition to Long Island. He is expected to be transported to Suffolk County to Central Islip sometime today on Tuesday, and is likely to appear before a judge to face charges related to an outstanding warrant and potentially even new charges as early as Wednesday.
Now, Melanie Smith, the alleged victim in this case, has been reporting this multiple times to police, and she's been waiting for an arrest. What is her reaction?
Well, she's very grateful that the authorities are finally taking action, but she's disappointed, according to her attorney, that it took Newsday's coverage from 2 weeks ago to finally force the authorities in both Suffolk County and the police department and the district attorney's office and in New Jersey as well to finally take action. So she's grateful that her alleged stalker is finally behind bars, that he's going to face consequences for her actions, but disappointed that her multiple criminal complaints that she's filed at police departments over going back 3 years did not make a dent. And it was only when Newsday finally reported on this story did Suffolk authorities and New Jersey authorities finally take action here.
Okay. And I'm sure there's more to come on this case. And you can see the very latest developments on this case on Newsday.com. For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Now, the Knicks are gearing up for the NBA Finals. Newsday's Jamie Stewart and Steve Popper have more.
Like Prince famously said, it's time to party like it's 1999. The Knicks are heading to their first NBA Finals in 27 years, or to put it another way, since Jalen Brunson was 2 years old. Newsday's Steve Popper has been with the team every step of the way. Steve, April 23rd, that was the last time the Knicks lost a game. After that 1-point loss to Atlanta, did you think this was possible?
I'd be lying if I said anything like this is possible. Look, I couldn't have thought it because no one has seen anything like this. What they're doing is a historic run. 11 straight wins, spanning a month. They not only become one of the few teams to ever win that many postseason games in a row, but the margin of victory is insane. It is not only a record for the postseason in that span, but for regular season too. It's you can make excuses for what the path has been like, but for great teams of all time to not do this even in the regular season, it's just something you never could have seen coming.
You mentioned the numbers. We have them, so let's take a look. The Knicks have a plus 271 point differential in 14 games this postseason. That's the highest 14-game playoff span ever. The Knicks are the first team in NBA history to have 3 series-clinching wins by 30-plus points in a single postseason, and their 11-game playoff win streak, the second longest win streak entering the finals since playoff expansion began back in 1984. So, Steve, is it hyperbole to say this may be the greatest streak of Knicks basketball ever?
Look, I'm old enough, like some of the Knicks fans, that I was covering in 1994 when they were, a fingertip of Hakeem Olajuwon away from possibly winning a title, and old enough to have seen the 73 team. This is, and I talked to some of the people, Walt Frazier on the court after the game last night, John Starks, and they, I think, believe that this might be the best team because of what they're doing. It's not only doing it, the wins and the numbers, but it's not just one guy. It's not being carried by a superstar. Jalen Brunson is that, and he won the MVP of the conference finals. But it's somebody different every night who emerges, whether it's Josh Hart doing all the little things, Karl Anthony Towns kind of switching roles on the run here. What they've seen from Landry Shamet, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. It just seems like every night it's someone else can beat you, and that, I think, probably is what gives them the best chance moving forward.
Let's move forward. The NBA Finals begins on June 3rd. The Knicks will have either a 3 or a 5-day rest heading into Oklahoma City or San Antonio as far as an advantage. They will be underdogs. Should they be, in your opinion?
Well, it's hard to think that they're underdogs with the way they're performing right now. they're playing better than anyone right now. Like, we look at the Western Conference teams, and we've talked all year about how great they are and how great Oklahoma City as the defending champions are. But no one's playing better than the Knicks. And I think something else to consider is no one is healthier than them right now. They have everybody at full strength. They're rested. They had a 9-day break before the last round, which I think kind of taught them some of the things that they need to do to get ready for this round during this long break. I expect that they're going to be the underdogs. I wouldn't bet against them, that's for sure.
All right, so last question, Steve. The Knicks have not won an NBA title since 1973. If they do, will Jalen Brunson ever have to pay for a meal in the city again?
Well, I'll say he could probably afford his meals, but no, I think, and I don't think he's the only one. I think Landry Shamit's probably getting a couple free meals right now. One of the things we're working on for tomorrow's paper right now is how the city has embraced this team. Because they're not only winning, they're not only dominating, but the character of these guys, I think, is what sort of makes them special. There's a maturity and experience, hard fought and hard won for this team. And I think that's what makes them special and kind of is capturing the heart of the city.
Well said. Thank you very much. He's Steve Popper. I'm Jamie Stewart. They are 4 wins away. And of course, you could read more about the Knicks' first trip to the finals since 1999 on Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
Out East with Doug Geed is brought to you by Connect One Bank, a better place to be.
All the way out in Montauk is a tiny spot doing big business thanks to TikTok. Let's head out east with Doug Geed.
Montauk is kind of a magical, mystical place. It's on the eastern tip of Long Island. It's a fisherman's paradise. And if you're willing to drive another half hour after getting through all the traffic in the Hamptons, it's a great spot to visit in summer. I'm Doug Geed, out east on Newsday TV. Montauk is also the home of a lot of people whose families have been working the waters here for centuries.
You don't often hear a sentence like this one.
We redid our garage and made it into a seafood market.
In what has to be the shortest commute anywhere, Kim Esperian and her partner walk from their living room directly into their market. Clint Bennett is the 14th generation of his family to work on the water. His family settled in East Hampton in the 1600s.
We started off as whaling. We were whalers, and then, throughout the years, it became fishing on the waters to whole seining to clamming, oystering.
There were also lobstermen, harvesting a shellfish that used to be considered a low-grade food. But when the Hamptons started becoming a summer playground for the rich, the cost of lobster climbed steadily. These days, a lobster roll could easily cost you $50.
And I said to myself, what can I do to let the public be able to enjoy something that I have had my whole life?
So he came up with the 2-for-1 lobster roll.
So you get 2 lobster rolls, 2 bags of chips for $38.
Word spread about the deal, but when a TikTok influencer mentioned it, their lives changed forever.
The next morning, there was literally a line of people down my driveway, and then the cars were down the street, and it's been like that ever since.
People from Queens, Brooklyn, even New Jersey drive for hours to buy the lobster rolls, along with the fish and shellfish caught by Clint and other local fishermen. But customers also get a taste of Montauk itself and of a unique and historic lifestyle.
We worked our waters and, provided for our families ever since, we were natives here. It's a forgotten thing to keep it alive, and not let people forget who we are out here.
In Montauk for Newsday TV, I'm Doug Geed.
All right, let's take a look at your 7-day forecast to see how the rest of the week is shaping up, and also taking a peek, of course, of the weekend. So we have, of course, those clouds tomorrow, but temps will be in the mid-70s, a bit higher too. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we are dry going into Tuesday. Where was this weather last weekend?
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
Now, for more on the stories you've seen here today, head over to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. I'm Ken Buffa. More news coming up.
An inside look at Long Island businesses as Newsday presents LI Works. Join Ken Buffa as he samples unique jobs and meets the people behind them. LI Works, now available at Newsday.com/LI Works.